Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Pocket Chains, episode 91. Wow, we're really getting up there. We'll be 100 before we know it. Be George Burns' age.
I seriously doubt most of our viewers know who George Burns is.
I think most of them do. How do you not know that? He played God.
I wanted to. I always thought George Burns was the coolest. I wanted to be like him when I was older, smoking cigars and drinking all the time and dating young women.
That's only because his wife died.
Not anymore.
Yeah, no.
It's not my.
Not your goal.
No.
Gracie Allen was the funniest woman in the world. And she died of cancer like 30 years before he died, or before that. She barely got into television before she died. She was the best part of the Burns and Allen thing. He was the funny man. Actually, he was the straight man, and she was the funny lady. Those are some of the best. If you go back and listen to old radio or old television, Burns and Allen, one of the best stuff. He was an idiot. She was stupid, but really, she was smarter than him. So, all right, that's enough about Burns and Allen.
I was going to say, most of our viewers probably want to hear about how our week was.
I understand, but you wrote up George Burns.
I just remember the movie my dad really liked with him was the one, what was it, Switch or something, 1881 or something like that. He was 81. He had a birthday party and he ended up coming back as 18 or something.
I don't remember that one, but I remember Oh God. That was one of my favorite movies.
But there's a movie like
All right, you gonna do your post?
not Post.
I need a post so I can get a for the.
Oh, you mean do
I get.
yours? What is it?
No, I think I already changed those. But I took other videos.
I don't know, man. I don't. Certain pictures I look great in, some just whatever.
Just give me a good smile. All right, I can cut that out. It's hard to get a picture of this guy when you live like across the country away from me.
I can tell my wife.
So we're relaunching the podcast on eBay.
Yeah, we're relaunching it on eBay.
Relaunching on YouTube, starting from from 34 and going forward. One a day. So if you haven't watched the videos and you want to check them out, they'll start coming out one a day. They did on the 19th, and we're going to run all the way up to the current, and then we're going to go back to our cadence of Tuesdays and Fridays. We're still going to try to do that on Spotify because we got a good listenership there. We probably have 4 or 5 times as many people listening on audio podcasts because we started there. And then I put it on my CJ Benz Finds channel, thinking I just put everything on one channel. And I'm finding out that eBay's algorithm doesn't like that. So we are now
You mean YouTube?
the Pocket Change Reselling Podcast.
You mean YouTube's algorithms doesn't like that, not eBay's.
I don't care. I'm more about eBay than YouTube. I'm just doing this because my friend Mike wanted me to do it on YouTube. But I definitely wanted to get out there. Most of those episodes had 17 to 40. We actually had one with 97 views. I don't know what we did special on that one. I watched it twice, and I'm just going to take my top off, I think.
Is that what it?
Yeah, we were naked. No, we weren't. I don't know what we did any different, but
We ain't never been naked on this podcast.
but everybody that watches us, and I spent this weekend with some friends that are YouTube people, and they all watch our content. Some of them do. I think they all do. But none of it was showing up in their feed. So I started its own channel this week, and 3 people that I'm really close with, they are checking it out, and it's showing up in their feed now when it wasn't before. So I think I had too many. I had 6 or 7 different types of videos that I was doing.
Yeah.
I think it confuses the YouTube algorithm. So we're going to try to get this thing out on YouTube so we can maybe get more listeners, more watchers. I don't believe we'll get monetized, but I just want to do it so we can reach a bigger, broader audience.
Yeah, but we're not going to neglect you guys on Spotify or iTunes. We appreciate you guys being with us the whole time. We're going to keep putting out our content for you guys as well, so you can keep enjoying it, because apparently you are, as much as we do.
Yeah.
And we appreciate it. We're just trying to make this all work. That's the big thing, and trying to actually be. Ben's and I both watch other podcasts and listen to other podcasts, and It's a lot like working in sales, going to what I call the hoopla meetings. You got guys who, oh, we had such a great week. How'd you do that? Oh, I just worked harder. No, well, we started this, the whole reason for it was to talk about things we're actually doing, things that are working, and to things that aren't working. And so that
Yeah.
we can all get better together, because that's really one of the big things I've noticed, and I'm going to brag on this community just a little bit, is the camaraderie of this community. It's something else. It's top notch. A lot of the guys know each other. I'm getting to meet a few here and there doing the podcast. I haven't been to any meetup yet, but going to be looking at some of those hopefully soon. And hopefully we're going to have one here. I know Mike's talking about having one here in North Carolina, so it'll be a little easier for me to break loose and go to one. But yeah, I appreciate each one of you guys listening and watching. And we're going to keep the same, try to keep the same. We are going to try to streamline the format just a little bit. Ben's and I've been playing with that a little bit here, trying to keep it more consistent. I know you guys like when we chase rabbits, apparently. But
so is Hartley County, Johnson County, Wilson County, Nash County, or Halija, Halifax County near you?
about an hour and a half, 2 hours away.
Because there's a 301.
Yeah, that's the big one.
Endless yard sale.
Yeah.
We're looking to do that in 2025, and
Probably
it's in
want
the
to
middle of June.
go look around a place to stay around Dunn, North Carolina. Some of my old
Okay.
stomping grounds. I know exactly where it's at. I haven't been there in, gosh, probably 20 years, maybe 15 years, but
Yeah, so we'll try to do how I talked that up this weekend, the 301. I asked a couple guys that were at the meetup I was at, or not meetup, just a bunch of resellers hanging out. And there was the 101 or whatever, the highway sale here, and it happened this weekend. So when I was up in Orlando, actually Daytona up that way, we went and picked the highway sale there. And then Dave had his yard sale. So it was a cool weekend. Got to hang out with a lot of people, the Trash Cash crew. Really had a great time with them. Had dinner with them a couple times. Spent all day with them on Sunday. And then Soda City Flips, he was there. And Mike Camparelli, that's who I crashed with, and we hung out the whole weekend. I'm trying to talk him into it, and I think I've got him convinced to doing his own YouTube channel
hey,
and around meetups. Let's see if he announces that or where he goes with that. But he goes to every meetup, and he's trying to figure out how we can be in this niche. I think that's a wonderful idea for him. So he's definitely working on that. His next meetup is like in March. I think that's when the next big ones are. So hopefully he gets everything together and starts doing his own channel. And we can use him as a roaming reporter to tell us about the meetups.
sweet. Because that's another thing too, is the meetups. It really is awesome. Now, there are those that try to do this on their own, and God bless them.
Oh, yeah. It is lonely.
I think you need an accountability partner, and when you have a lot of friends that are doing it, it's one of those things that just makes it that much smoother and that much better, because you become like, hey man, are you listening? Or hey man, my sales are down. What's going on? Oh, I'm not listening. You need to be doing that. Or hey,
Yeah,
I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. Because there's really some basics, and we can talk about that a little bit, but we talk about it all the time. But basics, number one basic is that you maintain listing every day, and
exactly.
you do some listings every day, and that's the number one basic. The number two is that you're sourcing properly. And don't just source everything. If you can't make money on it, don't buy it. But that's a lot on our pick and pass series that we
I buy anything as a quarter. That's my problem. And I was listing today. Today I listed like 58 things, but it was gas caps and small auto parts that I picked up at a yard sale and some little stuff here and there. But I listed 58 things, but only a value of about $750. So that tells you I'm around that $12 an item. But they were quick lists. And a lot of them were multi quantity. So I had six of the same thing. So I'll make one listing. And when I say I list 50 some things, I'm not counting that I had six of this and seven of that and three of this and 10 of that. It's 58 individual listings with multiple quantities behind it. So
there's the other thing too, is you being, and there's a huge difference now. Ben's is forced full time. He's still on that. He is still interviewing. We talk about it all the time, but he has that time. For guys like me who were working and doing multiple things, being able to list 10 things, that's a key. Make sure you're
yes,
listing 10 things. Now, they don't all have to be new, but one thing we can talk about, we can save it till we want to talk about a category we've learned now right now, or we want to go ahead and.
What'd you learn this week?
The big thing that I've learned is the sell similar is key, but the kicker is you do have to have a mixture of new things in there at least. And I'm saying this because I don't quite know the number yet. So, ladies and gentlemen, everyone, don't hold me to this, but the number's got to be somewhere around 2 to 3 new per thing. And my question now goes, and I'm going to try to figure this out. What if I'm doing my 10 and I've got 9 sell similar? What I'm playing with there is, can we hold them on unsold and let it carry over and work it back in? And I think you can do that. The only problem is I haven't figured out exactly when what I call the trash can, taking a play off from Microsoft Windows, when the automatic trash can comes in, because I have lost some items. I'm going to have to go back through all my stuff, but I approximately somewhere around 20 items that I was trying to work back in a while back, and after a while, eBay just deleted them. So I don't know exactly if that's. And some of you guys that are listening and got more experience, you may know. Put it in the comments. We'll read it out next week. But there's something. Maybe it's 30 days. Maybe I don't know. I don't know where that window is, but I know that you need to have a few new ones. Otherwise, you're going to do what you're going to see my store is doing, because I've been doing the 10 sell similar. I've been trying to get my new eBay room going, made a lot of progress on it, guys. But so it's been a drag working in the evenings, still trying to list. So I've been doing a lot of the sell similar, and I've noticed, okay, that algorithm works its way down, because even though you're selling similar, it's doing, but it's working its way down, and eventually it peters out, and I'm back to about 1 item a week, and that's not where I want to be. So I'm going to have to put a break on the eBay room and do some new listings. But that's what I've learned this week. Hopefully that helps everyone.
That's good. That's good to learn. Yeah, I agree. You can't just sell similar constantly and not put new. I did that in the past, and it works for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually it peters out. The thing I learned this week is I watched Tekken. He's a reseller that has a whole bunch of people that watch him, because he was like the number one clothing reseller for 20 years on eBay or something. I don't know, 10 years. I don't know what it is. But Hecken Sports, I think, is his name. And he was having I watched. So now that I have everything set up in the garage, I'm watching more YouTube. And I was checking out one of his lives. It was a pre-recorded. I'm not a part of his group, so I don't get to see it live, but I was watching the pre-recorded. But somebody asked a question about scheduling your items. And I do believe this has changed, because I've noticed it myself. I would go through and you list a bunch, and then I would schedule them out 20 a day. I would go 10 a day out to 3 weeks, and then add to that. But now when I list them, it sends a ding. Like once you put them and list them scheduled, you'll get an email on your phone that it's listed. So it doesn't recognize them as new items. So I'm no longer listing and scheduling. I'm listing, saving as a draft, and then listing them from there. Is my plan, honestly. But to be more honest, I'm just listing. I'm just going out every day and listing 20 to 50 things a day for the last week or last 4 days. I want to get into that. I was out of town, so I didn't list then. Whatever. I'm pretty much a liar. But I lie to myself, so I'm lying to you. It's all good. No, I mean, I'm trying to be consistent, and I don't want to lie and tell people I'm doing
something. I want to be consistent in my lies.
Yeah. Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, I keep saying I'm not going to buy anything less than $20 resale. And I believe that until I get out there. I think I have a ADD or something equivalent, like you can't stop buying stuff, whatever that is. Obsessive. Yeah, I don't know. I keep buying stuff that's less than $20, but if it's only like 50 cents,
you are going to have to move to somewhere rural Florida where you can have a big warehouse in your backyard. Because you're gonna end up renting a whole storage.
No, I figured it out. I have an interview. I have my second interview with a company that's in Haines, Florida, which is about an hour and 20 minutes from your round trip. Or no, hour and 20 minutes one way. I'm like, you know what? I'll get that job, and it's a really good job. I probably won't get it, but if I did, I'm going to buy an industrial building there and build an apartment in it, stay there during the week, and then use that for my eBay. It's a good plan. Other than I won't see my wife all week, and then eventually she'll run off with some guy. But you know what? Life happens. Hey,
boy,
that's what I learned this week.
went this way and that way and this.
I'm all over the place. My brain is like, I had so much fun hanging out with those guys this weekend and meeting, talking to people. The Death Pile Picker, if you haven't watched his videos, go watch them. That guy tells you the truth. If you don't want to hear the truth, he's still going to tell you the truth. We're going to get him on the podcast because I think you and him would get along.
Oh boy.
Although he's a little like, little brash. I like it. He's a good guy.
That's why you like me.
We stopped to get shakes. We had dinner and we're like, oh, let's go down and get some shakes, or we'll go get some ice cream. And the kid, we got there, walked in, and the kid, it was like 8:55, and he's on the way there. He said, "Hey, we probably should get. What time do they close?" And Dave's like, "I don't know." So we go down there and we go in, and then he orders a malted milkshake, and the kid goes, like, sighs very loud. And then he looks at the door. It's some hippy dippy place, right, in Florida that says, 10 a.m. till whenever. And then he says, what time do you close? He says, we close at 9. And he's like, your sign says whenever. So I don't know what your problem is. It's great.
And he got a loogie in his shake.
No, he didn't, because we stood there while he made them. And then the other guy, one of the other guys that was with us, he's I think I want that too, a malted chocolate milkshake. And the kids, he's like, anybody else want a shake? And then me and two other people are like, yeah, we want shakes. And then he was just like, because he thought we'd just scoop us some ice cream and we'd be out of there. No, you got.
You ruined his date night. That's what.
Oh yeah, we ruined it. That kid didn't have a date night. He had more pimples than me at that age. So.
I don't mean at that age of date, but anyway. Hey, young man, if you're watching, you come across.
I don't think it.
We're very proud of you and your shake.
No, he was a good guy. I gave him a tip, and then Dawn, Carrie's wife, she gave him a $20 tip to put up with us. That was great. Guy made $30 just to deal with us for 15 minutes.
Just to sigh. Anyway,
every time somebody orders something, he was like,
so let's talk about.
And then he was like, trying to make the shake fast, and then he overfilled them. They were all over he had made a mess. It was great.
All right, let's cut this rabbit trail.
What's that? You know what this is? Milk.
Peter Cottontail chasing a rabbit hole.
What is that? What's that?
That's what we'll start doing.
That's
we'll
pasteurized milk, bitch. My grandmother's favorite joke.
Mike,
it wasn't very funny then.
Mike,
funny now.
Be very proud of me. My feedback is now up to 67. So even though I've been struggling on my sales, I've still managed to get that feedback up all the way to 67 now. It has slowed down a little bit because my sales have, but I'm very proud, and I know Mike will be proud of me. We're still sending out the notes all the time, making sure that we're sending a note, thanking them for their purchase when they first buy it, when I ship it, during the middle of shipping, and then I started sending out 2 of the same one because I noticed some people weren't opening it. I don't know if you've noticed, but eBay actually in the messaging will tell you now. I think you have to turn it on as a default, but it'll tell you if they've read it. So what I noticed was when I was sending it the day it was delivered, it wasn't always getting opened. So I still send one the day it was delivered. By now you've received it. We hope you're happy with purchase, blah, blah, blah. But then I send the same one 3 days later. And just the same one, same wording. Hey, by now you've received your purchase. We hope you're happy with it for any reason. And I actually had a guy come back on that and say, no, I'm not happy with it. And I was like, oh boy, this might be my first return, but it wasn't. It worked out great. We'll actually talk about that here in a minute. But yeah, feedback's up to 67. So I'm very happy about that. The higher your feedback, one thing I have noticed is the higher your feedback, the higher your pricing volume. People will pay more. When I first started, I was making so small profits, it wasn't even funny. And then as I got to about 30 positive feedback, got a little bit better. And now since I crossed over 50, I'm making on average about 15% more than I was prior to hitting 50. I can imagine what happens when you get over 100, 200. And those guys, You guys who are listening, y'all got over 1,000. Good for y'all. Y'all probably are making 30-40% more than on your listings. But yeah, it's incredible. So feedback is important. Make sure that you are sending out messages. That's what I'm doing. And a lot of the feedback I'm getting is responding is good customer service, great price, great communication. Those are just things that I'm getting back. And those mean a lot when people are looking at your feedback profile. Believe it or not, they do look. eBay is huge on feedback profile, and people will look and they read it too. So
Yeah.
the as described, the thank yous, those are great. If you're listening and you bought it from me, hey, wonderful, appreciate it. But the feedback that you leave, and also getting feedback if you adjust your messages you are leaving for other people, don't just let it be the default eBay ones. That's what they're going to give you back. What I've noticed is since I've adjusted them, I'm getting better feedback. So that's another kind of
Cool.
tip there about getting good solid feedback. But which can leads us into our feedback of the week. We can go ahead and talk about that.
Yeah.
My
I
feedback of
just
the
hit
week.
492. I want to get to 500.
See, that's awesome.
I think after you get over like 250, feedback is not as important. But I think where you are, getting to your first 100 really means a lot.
And I'm looking forward to it. I think I'll be there probably before the end. I'm hoping I'll be there before the end of the year.
That'd be cool.
Um, like I said, most what I'm seeing when you go look at a seller
Yeah.
and you look at how much they've sold versus how much their feedback is, usually runs around 15 to 20%. I'm actually running around probably 40% getting in. I think it has all to do with leaving those messages and just communicating, being a good communicator. My feedback of the week comes from the guy that he had a problem with the watch that he bought from me. He didn't like it. It didn't work right. It worked, but it wasn't quite what he was expecting. And he left feedback. Ended up giving him a partial refund. I did give him basically because it is what it is. I basically gave him what my profit was, which some of you guys that are watching might be like, I don't do that, but I went in and did it because it went be like $4. I'm like, what else am I going to give him? I only made $4 off of it, so it's a bad sale for me. And then especially,
You have feedback. That's what matters.
but I got great feedback from it, so
Yeah.
that kind of helps because he said great watch, price, rapid shipping, great transaction, and then this is where it really gets it. Righteous eBayer, thanks! Exclamation point.
Nice.
So that you can't ask for any better feedback than that right there because he's just great item, great price, rapid shipping, great transaction, and then that righteous eBayer there. Putting that means to me, it means that hey, this seller stood behind it and took care of me and did what was right, and he will be back. I feel certain if I have something that he's interested in, and he said these are the kind of things I'm looking for. If you have it, you don't have anything right now. I said sure. I'll message you and say hey, look, you might want to check out this item.
Anybody that gives me something for free, I'm definitely coming back.
It still cost him because I didn't refund the shipping.
I know, but the
And
best part is, what was his problem? It was a pocket watch, and he didn't.
he,
When he put it in his
well,
pocket, it didn't work.
what what it was, it's a certain brand of watch, and it's a vintage. And on
Yeah,
those particular watches, the vintage ones, they made two different styles. They made one with a date, that had the date like on it, and they made one without the date. But they used the same stem on both of them. So it's got a three-stage stem, which gets quirky on the two when it doesn't have the date on the face and the
yeah,
mechanism. It gets real quirky. And then basically because it gets quirky and on a pocket watch, I've got one laying here. So let me just see if I can show you. Here, I got one open with guts on it that I'm working on repairing. But you see how that kind of flips around
yeah,
on that same watch. That does the same. All of them move. They're not hardcore.
yeah.
It's flippy. And on that same one, it is too. So every time he would put it in his pocket, it would flip and match the stem, and it would lose time. So I get it. It is what it is. I gave him the $4 I had made. I didn't refund his whole thing because number one, shipping. I wasn't going to refund that. And number two, I'm not going
Yeah.
to refund and take a loss. So basically, he paid. He's got the watch. He didn't ship it back, so he paid for the shipping and he paid for what it cost me to actually buy the watch. And then I gave him back the $4. So I broke even. I'm not out anything, and I got great feedback. So I can't complain.
Nice.
I can't complain
Yeah.
there at all. And he's happy, and I'm
Yeah.
happy,
So
and hey, perfect.
I had some decent sales this week or last.
Let's talk about feedback.
My feedback. I know I'm doing my feedback,
Oh,
man.
okay.
Come on, let me speak. You don't need to edit me while I'm talking. Good lord. But my favorite feedback was on a $4.99 Nickelodeon Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Michelangelo. Seller shipped the item out right away. It arrived super fast. Really cool. Highly recommend this awesome seller to anyone. Thank you so very much.
There you
That's great
go.
feedback.
That is great feedback.
Everybody's, oh, you shouldn't sell low dollar stuff because if it's low dollar, those people are probably going to complain more because it means more to them because they're willing to only spend $5, and $5 means more to somebody that'll spend $5 than somebody that'll spend 500 or something. That guy dug it, and it was a cool little Ninja Turtle. And you know what? $4.99 plus shipping. It was in a lot of stuff, so I had 12 cents in it. So I basically made, after fees and everything, like $3.50. I keep telling myself I'm not going to do that, but you know what? For good feedback, it was worth it.
I sell a lot of cheap items. I think that I don't know. You can make that argue. I said years ago that I'd rather have the $200 client. This was when I was doing debit route pickups for insurance premiums. I'd rather see the $200 ticket as a $20 ticket because the $20 ticket you had to argue with them.
Yeah.
I did learn a secret on that. Don't argue with them. It's not worth it. If
Kick them in the tip.
no, if you drive up and they're like, I want to cancel, and you're like, sure, and you go ahead and go ahead and start to exit, they're like, whoa, wait, aren't you going to argue with me? No, you said you wanted to cancel. And I literally had
Yeah.
one, and the one I learned on was this: said, I've changed my mind. Hold on a minute. I said, you got till I get back in the truck because I just turned around and started walking, and they ran and got their checkbook and ran to my truck. So you can say that's rude, whatever, but I'm not going to argue with you when I'm making 15%.
Yeah, no doubt. All right. So you did everything out of whack. We're supposed to do how our week went and do our sales, but you
Yeah.
went right to
Well,
whatever.
good.
Who's your buyer of the week? Who's your buyer of the week?
Buyer of the week. Let's see. My buyer of the week, I only had one. I'd have to say it was my guy. I can't even pronounce it. Louis Suga 90. I don't know how. I'm probably whoever you are. I'm probably murdering your thing, but it's LuizaOECua 90. They bought
Nice.
a pocket watch chain from me. They did leave good feedback, but that's basically my seller of the week because again, I only sold one thing. But you got to keep in mind too, this chain came in a lot that I bought of all kinds of stuff, jewelry, watches, a bunch of stuff. And I'm sorry, but I'm not going to try to figure out which watch it goes with. And I've noticed selling pocket watches that chains don't matter. People don't really buy them. They'll pay the same without the chain as they do with the chain. So
And then you can sell the chain
yeah,
for what?
that's what I've done. If the chain's not now, if it comes attached, then I do leave it on it because I'm just like, I don't need that 5,000 chains of the same style. But like this one came, it was unattached, so I'm going to be
Mm-hmm.
listing it by itself. But then you've got this one here that the chain is attached, as you can see, the battery in it. So I'll leave it on it probably. I'm not gonna and it doesn't unclip. But
Yeah.
the ones that come in lots, wristwatches, when you got your bands and they come, because I've got some of those now that I've gotten lots, like little leather bands or whatever, and they're not on any watch. I'm gonna sell those separate. I don't know why anybody. I guess people keep watch bands when they don't have a watch to go on it. I don't know, but I'm gonna list them separate. We're gonna go on. There, you got your cat with you.
Well, that's the door open. Smokey came in. This cat, it's a big cat, right? For being 2 months old.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's as big as Merlot, which is our small cat, who's Smokey, our Maine Coon. Say hi. And let me shut the door so he gets out of here. He was biting on my ankle.
Oh, yeah, I got to move him. Can't do the biting ankle thing.
He's cool. It's a cool cat.
But that's my buyer of the week and my sell of the week.
My buyer of the week, and I pick my buyer of the week not really what they buy, but by their name.
Oh, by their
right?
name. Okay.
Yeah. So my buyer of the week is Stud Machined and Some. That's
Hey,
awesome. That's a great
Stud
name.
Machine.
STUDMCHANDSOME. Stud Machine and Some. That is an eBay name.
What did he do? Buy Old Spice from you?
I don't know what he bought.
Don't know what he bought.
I don't. I clicked on the thing, so I'm beyond that.
Hey, Stud
Hold on.
Machine. That's probably
Stud
that's
Machine.
Mike's other account.
Yeah, that is Mike's other account, Stud Machine. He has 100% positive feedback and $4.99 and nothing for sale. So he just buys a bunch of stuff.
Stud Machine. I think I'm gonna.
Trying to see if
That's
I
probably
can't.
actually Biscuit Butt.
Yeah. Yeah. So Mike, me, and Biscuit Butter are now on a thread, and we're doing our accountability. They're accountability buddies, and Mike threw me on there because Mike texts me every day anyway. So he's, hey, I'm gonna throw you on here because I'm tired of talking to both you guys and telling you the same thing in two different freaking texts. So today I was texting with all those guys. It's cool. All right. So what's your sale of the week? We know that because you just talked.
Yeah, this is my chain. That's the only sale I've had.
Yeah.
And that's going back to the whole thing of, okay, so I've been doing the sale similar, but I've been doing so much of it that it's now petered out and gone down. And so it's a hard lesson to learn because I was like, selling similar, it'll just keep going. No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It does not. You have
It
to
doesn't.
add new to it.
My sale of the week was $249.95 plus shipping.
Oh, good sale. Good sale. How many?
Arima Tip Top Micro Comb A6P/A6.
How much did you have?
Four boxes of them. And what it is, if you get a flat tire, it's the plug that you put through a machine. So each box individually was marked at $60, but the boxes were all damaged, so I just put all four of them in a lot and listed them for $250, and somebody bought them. They actually went to a garage in New Jersey, and the expiration date was like 2027. So they'll probably make a lot of money off that.
Yeah, that was a good deal for them, but that was a good deal for you too, depending upon what you had in it.
$22.
Oh yeah, that's a great deal. 10 times your money.
Yeah, more than 10 times my money, and they got out my door, and I made $14 on the shipping because I had measured them. I guess I was off on what I thought the box would be. I put them in a much smaller box. Hey, I like it. What's your crappy sale of the week? Which is your same one?
We don't talk about crappy sales. Remember, Alex came on our podcast.
Low sale of the week,
and he really liked our podcast. We're positive people. Remember?
No, not crappy sale from the customer, but crappy sale. You probably shouldn't have listed it, but maybe you should have.
I don't have one of those. I'm like list it.
I'm listing stuff I probably shouldn't. My crappy sale of the week was a rebuild carburetor kit for a lawnmower that I listed. I probably have 200 of them. They're just little thin things, so I listed them and put on there again. And this one actually sold that way. So they're so thin that they'll fit into an envelope. So I put them as eBay envelopes. So I made them $9 plus shipping, $10 total. The average one of those. So it's a bunch of thin pieces of paper and like 4 different screws where you take them out and put them in. So this one I listed them all with the eBay envelope. I sold one, and then it wouldn't ship that way, which doesn't matter because I'm happy with $5 and $5 for shipping, $10 total. But in this one, I actually shipped it out at 90 cents. My thing is, hopefully it goes. I don't know why the last one wouldn't let me, but this one did. So
I would list this and sell it if I thought I could make a profit off of it.
I bought a whole big box of them from somebody for $12, and there's probably 1,000 of them in there, and they're worth $10 a piece.
So, 9-volt batteries?
That.
Or are you talking about your carburetor thing?
My carburetor thing. No, I probably have 1,000 of them. They sell for $10 a piece, and I paid absolutely nothing for them, maybe a penny. So if I sell them all, I make 10 grand. But they're really dusty, and I got to clean them. So I only listed some, and I have this big box sitting there that every once in a while I wipe them off. And we'll see. I probably won't ever list them, but they're selling all right. I've sold 3 of them so far, so I've made my money back, and I still have 980 of them to go.
Good
So
Lord, if he's
we'll
selling
see.
those toys, oh my gosh.
Yes, I agree.
But anyway, so what's next?
How was your week? What'd you? How was your performance this week? So it was one thing. That's good though.
Mine's easy. We're in the podcast. We're done. What was your performance metrics this week? What did you do total?
Total, I sold $849.76.
Okay, so down a little bit for you, but you were gone
Yes,
for 4 days, so
I was gone and I wasn't listing, so I'm very happy with that. My overall profit after I take everything out is $567.76. So I made $567.76 this week.
about that. Although the $17
Well,
I made is not going to support me at all. I don't spend all that in one place.
well, $500 ain't covering my week. I spent that on tacos, so it all works out.
That's some expensive tacos.
They were good. I
Speaking
like a good taco.
of tacos, my wife, the Taco Bell commercial came on tonight. She was like, "I don't like that, but they are talking. They have brought back the Mexican melt, and I'm thinking about going." I'm like, "Woman."
They have brought back the Mexi Melt, and I ate one this
But
week, actually.
I looked at her. I said, "Have you lost your mind?" And I would say the same thing.
It's delicious.
Have you lost your mind? Because here's the thing, that is a
You know how much a Mexi Melt is now?
yeah, but it doesn't matter.
But no. Remember that when we were kids?
They were like
They were like
59 cents or
79 cents.
something. Yeah,
Yeah, 59 cents. They're $3.
but that's too expensive for a colon cleanse. Come on now, those things
It
blow.
was delicious.
Maxi melts all the Taco Bell cleans out your system if you're 20 years old. If you're over your 40s, you need to leave Taco Bell alone. That is, I want
Yeah,
to. If you were able to stomach that and not have to go blow out the toilet, you must have an
I
iron.
didn't. I eat, but I have a horrible diet. I didn't eat my colon's like, oh look, it's Wednesday. It didn't freak
Oh,
out.
look, it's Wednesday.
It's not. Hey, it's a. What are you doing? You don't eat this anymore. No, I haven't decided at 52 to do a better job of taking care of my body. Although I need to.
I don't have any choice because if I eat Taco Bell, I'm staying home for 2 days. I'm not going anywhere near that place now. No, thank you. I'll tell you another fast food chain I'm not going to. Freddy's. I'm not going anywhere
I never
near.
heard of Freddy.
It's like a throwback diner type, but it's retro, whatever. I don't know. Maybe they don't have them anywhere around where you've been, but
Yeah.
that is the greasiest, crappiest, like rat meat tasting burger I've ever. Some people love that. And,
What's that place you love that I went to in Tennessee because they had it near my mother-in-law?
oh, Cookout.
Cookout. I'm like, oh, I'm all excited to go to
Yeah,
Cookout. I waited 2 o'clock after we left the bar. We went to Cookout. Yeah, that's the wrong time to go to Cookout. I'm just saying. You wait in line for 47 minutes. But the best thing was, like, you get your combo, and I could get, instead of French fries, I got miniature corn dogs
yeah.
and like a milkshake. And you get all
You
kinds of
get,
crazy stuff. And
you get,
it's 11
yeah.
bucks
You get your
for more food
sandwich.
than you can eat. Yeah.
You get your sandwich. Then you get two other meals. It's because it's
Mm-hmm.
you want some corn dog, and you don't have to get the mini corn dogs. You can actually get two full size corn dogs with it.
No, I got the mini corn
You,
dogs, but they were
you
delicious.
get
Everything there was okay. It was
yeah.
okay.
Cookout's great, but it's not the greatest quality of food either. Now
No, I mean,
their
it's great
milkshakes
beef food, but
their
it's cheap.
milkshakes are delicious.
I did. I got a banana milkshake. It was good. I like banana milkshakes. I think it's my favorite.
But anyway, if you're anywhere near a Cookout, go. You'll not your wallet will thank you, and you will be full. I'm not going to say
Yeah.
that it won't affect you later. It's great. And
Okay.
getting back to Freddy's, if you like Freddy's, hey, don't leave me bad comments. Freddy's great. It was great when I was younger, but now that I'm older, my whole metabolism has changed. I can't stomach the greasiness anymore. I can't do it. It just doesn't work. Although, if I ever get to Chicago or New York, I'm going to try actual Chicago and New York pizza. Even though I've heard it's greasy, I don't care. I'm going to try it just to say I've been able to try it. So
I've been to both places, and both pizzas are delicious. They're totally different.
they are. They definitely are.
Chicago pizza is awesome. But
I like them both, but then I just like pizza. Except
yeah, I like
now there
pizza.
is some pizzas I don't like. I'll tell you the pizza I'm dying for, and we're chasing a rabbit hole here, but I am dying for the old school pizzas. You
Oh
remember
yeah.
them rectangle things? They were I would, and my luck if I actually get a hold of one now, and you got to eat it with corn and chocolate milk. You gotta have corn on the side. Weirdest thing in the world. Here's your school pizza. Here's your tray, little Johnny. You get your square pizza and your corn.
Every time I eat a peanut butter and jelly, because they'd have something I didn't like at school, I always get the peanut butter and jelly. But they did triple peanut butter and jelly, so it was like peanut butter, jelly, bread, jelly, peanut butter. That's how I always make my peanut butter and jellies now.
See, when I was coming along, peanut butter and jelly at school meant that your mommy and daddy didn't give you lunch money. that, was, that was what they made you.
I grew up poor, so that's probably why I ended up with peanut butter and jelly. But they were delicious. They made a triple decker, and I don't think you can get peanut butter in schools anymore because of the
Because the
freaking.
nut allergies. Yeah.
Exactly. I say let all those people die. When I was a kid, I
Ah,
mean, come on. If you can't stand a peanut, you shouldn't be here. You're not helping out the gene pool in any way, shape, or form. That's all I'm saying.
there's a cute little girl that's 5 years old that I know, and she has nut allergies, and they didn't know it for the
And
longest
she's going to reproduce and make more nut allergy people. And then it's like that Idiocracy. You ever seen that movie where all the stupid
time.
people outclass the smart people? Then all of a sudden there's all these stupid people. There's going to be all these nut allergy people. I
That's
just
what
say,
we got going
we'll
on
talk
now
about
is
it.
stupid people. So
Exactly.
anyway,
What's going to keep
let's
happening?
get back to eBay reselling before we chase this and have to cut out a whole lot. Let's see. Tell me about.
Oh, you looked up an item?
I did. Tell me about your
Oh,
Salvador Dali museum poster.
I just sold something. Maybe it's that. Did you buy it?
No, I did not buy it. I couldn't afford that. That's a lot of money for me. 149.95 and 80 then 89.82 shipping. That's a bit much for
Yeah,
me.
that's the problem. So I've learned this about artwork, right? So I've been selling a little bit of artwork. I sold a couple of big pieces, but I am going to now stop buying big artwork. If it's over 30 inches in any dimension, you shouldn't try to sell it on eBay because, like, how much is it? $89 to
Yeah,
ship
it's
it to
like
you?
$90 to ship it to me.
Yeah, to North Carolina from
Florida.
Florida. That doesn't even make any sense. So that
Are
is,
you trying to ship it USPS?
no, that's UPS.
That's UPS ground.
UPS ground. That's my first one.
Why
So
is this poster worth so much?
it's from the
I mean, it's a poster.
yes, but it's from the actual. Okay, let me look it up. I have two Salvador Dali ones, so you're confusing me.
Okay, this is the 1985 Velasquez or whatever, the infant Margarita rustic frame. I can't.
Yeah, they both are in rustic frames because they came from the same person.
I see the one here. You got Shades of Night descending. Yeah, but I'm talking about the museum poster.
Yeah, so that's his museum poster from the night of the opening of the museum that was selling Salvador Dali.
Ah,
So that poster you could have only gotten
85 there at the
1985,
gallery.
right? At the gallery the day it came out. It's super cool. It's rare. It's not rare from the painting, but it's rare from the poster, right? It's really cool in its own. And the frame is handmade and it's rustic. So both of those items you look up, they have the same type of frame. I think the person that hung them in their house made their own frames because those are definitely not handmade frames. They're not like you would buy that frame made out of lath that they stained to look the same for the two of them. $49.
They did a pretty good job on making the frame too.
Yeah, and they're really cool.
I mean, me being a woodworker, I'm looking at it going, yeah, they did a pretty good job because they've got the double tilt on the frame. So I'm kind of
Yeah, so if
surprised.
you look that item up, there's only other thing is the same item is a vintage litho art poster and it's $500. I went with $149 because it's rare and there's not a lot of them.
So that's a great deal, actually.
Yeah, and that frame is worth $149. The problem is the shipping. So this week, my pick of the week, I was at yard sailing with those guys, and there was a guy who had a bunch of artwork from the Smithsonian. But the thing that was cool about him was it's all these airplanes. He was a pilot, he was in the Air Force, and so for his birthday over the last many years, he got these prints from the Smithsonian with a piece of the plane, like the wing, like a chunk out of the wing on there. And they were super cool. He had 3 that were framed and the rest weren't framed. And he was asking like $30 for the framed ones and $20 for the unframed ones. He had 13. He said he had 13, but we couldn't find them because we went in his house and looked for him. And he only had 9. But I said, what if I bought them all? And then he's, I don't know. What are you going to do with them? I dig planes. I don't know. So because he was like, I was going to give them to my son, who's a pilot, but he doesn't want them. He thinks they're whatever. So I ended up paying $11 a piece for them. So I bought 9 of them, basically $100 for 9 of them. And then I looked them up. I didn't look them up when I was there because I'm like, I know these got to be worth $10. They got to be worth $25, $30 a piece. They're posted on eBay. The cheapest one is like $199.99. And the most expensive one is like $300.
Wow, great!
Yeah, that's cool. And the Lindbergh, they didn't have the Lindbergh one, and they didn't have the Amelia Earhart one. The other ones that they had were like you never heard of this person playing. So I got a Lindbergh, Amelia Earhart, and somebody else. The guy who was the Snoopy played in all the things.
The Red Baron. No,
Yeah, the
not
Red
the
Baron.
Red Baron. Not
So all those planes are in the Smithsonian, and when they redid them, they took the because they all had canvas across the wings back then. So they took the canvas off. They took the canvas and cut it into 2x2 squares, which are on there for those airplanes. And then they redid the planes to hang them in the Smithsonian. So all these planes are hanging in the Smithsonian, and the original canvas is now a little square, and it tells all about the plane and all about the aircraft.
Are you sure it's the right? Are you sure that's the right square? If you took all the squares they sold out of Charlotte, North Carolina, when Elvis Presley came to stay, and added them up, you'd have a bed sheet that would cover 5 gigantic size, king size beds put together. So it's obvious they.
Yeah, but those beds wouldn't cover the beds that he had sex with women in, so it makes sense, right? He got around. Don't know, but I do know these are from the Smithsonian. With all of them have their, whatever the paper that says
so they're probably authentic. It doesn't matter anyway. Yeah. It's from the Smithsonian. Yeah. If they got the COAs, that's great.
They got the COAs, and they're super cool. So I think probably the Lindbergh, the Amelia Earhart, and the Red Baron one are probably worth more than the ones that are listed, because the ones that are listed are just Eddie Bobby who flew to whatever. One of and the other one was the Wright brothers plane. So 4 of them I think are probably worth a lot more because you've heard of them.
Now, you do know that the original Wright brothers plane is not in the Smithsonian.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever plane they got, they took the wing piece off of it.
The original is hanging in Nags Head, North Carolina. Just talk about like that.
But one of the originals is there. They built like 16, I'm sure. I don't know.
Possibly.
But I thought they were super cool, and I bought them for $11 a piece, and then realized they're worth from $200 to maybe $400.
I'm going to look that up right quick, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm pretty sure it used to be, they may have moved it to the Smithsonian, but it used to be the original Wright brothers plane was in Nags Head, North Carolina, there at Jockey's Ridge.
It probably is. But they didn't just build one plane.
Even though Ohio claims
they didn't just build one plane.
No, the original that has been moved. The original 1903 Flyer is now on display at the National Air and Space Museum in Washington D.C., which is part of the Smithsonian. So
and I got a little swath of the original when they redid it. I'm just saying, it's super
So
cool.
that's pretty
That guy was
cool. It
super nice.
was moved in 2003.
You need to get up on your nautical airplane knowledge before you start spitting
Apparently, I
untrue
do. I
to the
remember
people that watch
seeing
this
the.
podcast.
I remember seeing the original. Now it says one of them was returned to the United States after the Wright Flyer. The glider was returned to the United States after World War II and installed at Smithsonian in 1940. But the Museum of Flight has a replica of the Wright 1903 Flyer built to commemorate. But 2003, so it seems to be one of the major dates. The Wright family and descendants in 1981 donated the original. Wow. So it was on display, but it wasn't even owned by them. Now it is. So that's pretty cool. Just think of it. If them two guys hadn't flown off that sand dune in Jockey's Ridge and Nags Head, North Carolina, we wouldn't have the planes we've got now.
We would, because somebody else has done it. Because once an idea gets into the zeitgeist of the world, everybody starts to do it. Like the engine, Benz was one of the first people, but not the only first person. And that's like toilet paper. Like they can't really decide who was the first person to make toilet paper. Because I do think we have a collective conscience. And once somebody has a thought, it goes out into the zeitgeist, and then it happens. That's my thought.
Okay, I'm not even gonna follow that rabbit hole.
I'm just saying. The best was I was listening to when I was driving up to Florida. I was listening to some comedy, and this guy was talking about the cyclone, I think it is, on Long Island. It's like the oldest roller coaster or whatever, and he was riding it, and it came out in 1915 or whatever. And like you get up there to it, and you're ready to get on it, and you're like, its sign says it's been here since 1915. He started doubting whether he should get on it because something that old. Why would you get on
I'm
it?
not getting on.
And the best was and the one thing I realized after that, because I started doing some research, is if something is better than anything else, it's like this is the best thing since sliced bread. That happened a year after they built that freaking roller coaster. So that was a year before the best thing that everybody talks about. So you probably shouldn't ride that roller coaster. Right?
I'm not.
No.
Now I will say this, and we went to Carowinds here in North Carolina. Took my daughter the first time she'd ever been, and I told her about the best roller coaster I'd ever been on in my life. Was one at a pier in Yopon Beach, North Carolina. It no longer exists, but that was the name of the town. It was a little 2-cart roller coaster, and there at the pier, they had the arcade in the pier. I'm dating myself a little bit here. And my older brother was in the back cart, and every time we'd go over a bump, the back cart would come completely off the track. That made it the best roller coaster I've ever been on because my brother was in the back freaking out. Every time it would go over a hump, and he'd come flying up in the air. Anyway, he's still alive. He didn't die on it. But anyway. All right, so where are we at?
I don't know. I got sidetracked.
Yeah, talking about all kinds of stuff.
I started looking up stuff.
I think we're to my item or eBay news, one or the other.
So what was your sale of the week?
I'm getting ready to just leave the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Just leave, and you realize if I just click the leave session, it won't even let me. It's grayed out. That's terrible.
You can't leave. You're stuck, buddy.
Leave.
You're here for the long haul either way.
He was asking me.
Yeah, your item of the week. So I was looking, and it didn't seem like you listed a bunch of new stuff this week.
I'm not listing any new stuff.
Exactly. So what am I going to ask you about?
Anything you want.
I started looking. I'm like, oh yeah, let me find something. I'm like, I think I've talked about all 37 items you have. Tell me about the Disney Store Miles Tomorrowland boy doll.
Oh my God! You bring that one up again. I hate that doll. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening and you sell Disney items or you want to get into Disney items, please send us a message. I will make you a great deal on that whole stinking box. Ben's talked me into buying this box a long time ago. And now, granted, at the time I bought it, they were selling pretty decent. But
they were.
We found out that it was the 19-inch doll that was selling really well. And I've got the 24-inch doll, and I have a whole stinking box. It's sitting right there. You can see it. It's that box right there. And it is filled to the brim full of them. I think I've got like 30 of them. It doesn't get it. It's 4 or 5 watchers every time I relist it, but nobody. I will make you. It's one of those items, and I'm going to tell you because it does sell pretty well. We did it one time. We looked at it, and even the 24 inches got like a 30% sell through rate. But for some reason, and this is one of those weird things, if you've only got one of something in a category, do not buy it. If it's outside your categories, do not buy it. I don't care how great a deal you're getting on it, because what we have learned is you need multiple items in a category to actually sell. You have one item sitting there in a strange, weird category that doesn't seem to fit with your store, it won't sell. And that's where I'm at with it. These Tomorrowland boys it just won't sell. Got great sell through rate, but it's my only item, and I'm not going to go buy a bunch of other stuffed Disney toys to go with it to fill out my store. I'm not going to do it. It's like my lone Funko Pop. Now, I've finally sold off all the others, but I still got the one Batwoman or whatever, Catwoman or whatever it is.
Wonder Woman, baby, number 170, whatever.
Yeah,
I sold mine, babe.
Can't get it to sell to save its life. I think I'm going to wrap it up and give it to my son for Christmas, even though it's not what he wants. I can't get that stinking Funko Pop to sell. I'm going to send it back.
We're recording this a little late because I was out, but it'll be out on Friday or Tuesday. I'm not sure which one. So I went through the news. There's some really good news this week, but that's for Sunday when we record this week's episode. But I have some news for eBay if you're ready.
Go ahead. Let's do a little bit of eBay news.
All right, couple quick. eBay's low price sort function is broken. That was something I read this week. eBay's low price sort function, which is used to sort listings by lowest price first, is currently broken. Sellers and buyers alike have experienced issues with this function. It does not display the items in the correct order. Instead of sorting the lowest price listing first, it might put the highest price first, or it might just do it in the middle. It doesn't really make any sense. The problem is very frustrating for eBay users, and especially for those who rely on selling on eBay by listing their items at the lowest cost.
Ever since they did that stupid AI crap, AI works great in other things, but eBay's AI is like AI is mentally challenged little brother.
It's like the Terminator when it was taking over the world, right?
It is.
Yeah, not right. Another thing that was reported this week is there was a glitch with the bulk shipping function on eBay. Sellers have incurred a frustrating issue with the bulk shipping tool. I don't use that. I ship each item individually because I'm not smart enough to print a bunch of labels and then put them on the right packages. Every time I do that, I ship the wrong thing to the wrong person. But apparently they changed the link from what it was to a new link. But when they did that, the new link went nowhere. So if you were trying to bulk ship this week, you might have ran into a problem and got frustrated. The other thing is the lack of communication by eBay. They do these things, they change stuff, and then they don't tell us ahead of time.
Yeah, they don't tell us ahead of time, and then you're scrambling to try to figure it out. And I'm gonna bash on eBay just a little bit here. And what I love about it is they change something. You go into the help, and it doesn't even know. It's like, what are you talking about? Because they don't update the help section for the longest time, so you can't get any help on anything they've changed. It's crazy. And their pictures, like the messaging system, the whole way we used to send messaging. If you go into the help section, it is still got pictures and talks about the old way of messaging a buyer or seller. And I'm like, it's been out for what, 3-4 months? The new ways, instant messaging or chat, and yet
I think the thing is, it's not out for everybody yet, right? So they roll everything out little by little. You probably opted into it, and I opted into it, so it doesn't work for us. But they do change things little by little.
Not always little by little. They change things. And what's funny to me is,
the listing screen changed for me today. I didn't care for that, the way it changed around. I'm in the middle of doing my listings, and then I went in to list another item, and it went from what it was to some new, just different. I'm like, this is crazy.
Yep.
They change stuff all the time.
And they will change it just like gas prices. They will stop the pump, change it right there in the middle.
Yep.
They do not have, like most companies will say, we're updating from this time this weekend. They try to do it on their slowest times. eBay doesn't care. They just update. They're like, we clicked go, and we don't even know if it works.
Yeah, and then you got to redo it, and you got to learn it on the fly. USPS to raise package rates in January. This happens every year. Ground Advantage to raise by about 4%.
At this point, I don't know why they even announce it.
Yeah, you just know it's
They
going to
just
happen.
know it's going to happen.
They always raise it for the holiday and then keep the rates.
Yeah.
That's usually what happens.
And
I have noticed that the difference between 4 ounces and 8 ounces is like 11 cents now. A lot of times I'll put 8 ounces in, and then it would be like a 75-cent difference, and I'll ship it for 4, and I'll make a little bit of money. I quit doing that because it really is nothing.
it's nothing now.
Between 4 and 8.
And between 1 and 5 pounds, now you go over 5 pounds, you better go to UPS.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, go UPS anything over 5 pounds now, because since we talked about it one time on eBay News, since they lost their, whatever you call it, their favored status with FedEx, and those two parted ways, USPS Ground Advantage, anything over 5 pounds, they get all out of whack about it. But yeah, they always, every time they raise rates for the holidays, and then in January, and they say, we're going to do it in January.
In January. All right, so here's the spiel. You ready? Starting January 19th, 2025, the cost of priority mail packages will increase by an average of 3.2%, while the USPS Ground will see a 3.9% rise. These charges are based upon general averages, making it difficult for sellers to determine the impact, especially since USPS does not break down specific services like priority versus priority mail express. Online sellers using US e-commerce, which often discounts rates through the platforms like eBay and Etsy, may face additional complications during the timing of the changes. Despite the hikes, USPS will not raise mailing service rates on stamps. Additionally, the USPS reported nearly a $10 billion loss for its fiscal year of 2024, and that included 2 postal hikes. We might bitch and moan, but they're losing money every day.
I'm sorry, but when it's funny to me when you've got the IRS, and this comes out every tax season. If you don't believe me, check it out when April comes around, ladies and gentlemen. You get ready to mail your stuff to, get ready to mail your stuff to the IRS, and then you have to use UPS or electronic, or they will not accept packages from the Postal Service. So the government, the IRS, does not accept mail from the government, the U.S. Postal Service. So that should just tell you. But we put it on there. Most things we ship USPS because that's what everybody wants to pay, because they're the cheapest rate. Here's the other thing. And I'm going to tell you guys who are buyers who are watching this, here's the biggest thing. If you're buying from a seller, ask them if they'll offer another one, because you go look up, just Google statistics on how many packages. They lose like 10 to 15% of their packages every day. That is their rate. U.S. Postal Service loses 10 to 15% of their packages every day. Now, it's not that much because they ship so much. It's like airplanes. We're all concerned when an airplane falls out of the sky, and yet there's billions of flights like every week or whatever. I'm making that up, I know, but there's a lot of flights. And how often do you have a crash? Very seldom. Flying is one of the safest modes of transportation. It doesn't help you much when you're one of the ones that lost your package. But my motto is, if you're a buyer and you buy from me and you pay for it to be shipped to you USPS and it gets lost, I'm sorry. As long as I did my part, I'm sorry. You the one who wanted USPS, because we're all cheap. We thrive on 2 things: cheap and beating the GPS. That is what makes an American.
I agree. I looked that up. I want to double check. I'm doing like a Trump double check on you. It is less than 2% are lost every day.
Yeah. You must be looking at the USPS website.
No, I looked it up. I asked ChatGPT.
Oh, ChatGPT AI.
estimated that around 1.7 million packages are lost or stolen in the United States every day. That's a lot.
1.7 million.
1.7 million.
Yeah, okay.
But they ship 24 million every day. That equates to 620 million packages disappear annually. That's crazy. I never even thought about that.
Okay, maybe I'm high on it. That's a lot of packages.
That is a lot of packages.
Now let's compare that just right quick. Do the same
So we got
Google and
20,
let's do.
So what is that? So 23.5. Oh, clear that. 1.7 divided by 23.5 equals 7.5%. That's crazy. They lose 7.5% a day.
So see, I told you. I'm closer. I'm closer. I said 10 to 15. I'm closer than a little. What would you say? It was telling you.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, it's 7.5%. How much does UPS lose a day? Doesn't say. It says 1 million packages per day are being lost to competitors because they are shipping for the fraction of the price.
I don't know about that. Maybe, but USPS, you get it's old adage. You get what you pay for. You want it. You want the cheap. You're gonna get cheap service. That's what it is.
Okay, so UPS is leading the industry with a 97.5% delivery rate. So 2.5% are lost. That's much less than 7.5%.
Yeah, I like UPS much better, even though the people are nicer at the postal service at post office.
That's because they're getting paid a lot to do nothing.
Every time I go
UPS, I
in,
don't think they're making enough money.
the UPS guys, USPS guys and ladies that work there, they love me to death. They're like, "Hey," I think they love everybody. They're like, "Hey, we're so glad you're here. How can I help you? Here's your survey at the bottom." I go into the UPS store and it's like, oh, another person I have to wait on.
Exactly. Those are independently owned, most of them.
I'm more guaranteed to get my package to you, UPS.
Through UPS.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, you got like a 4% greater chance of it making it. All right, we've wasted another hour of your life. Thank you guys for stopping by. This has been Pocket Change. Check it out. We got a new channel. So if you go on YouTube and type the @ symbol, Pocket Change Reselling Podcast, it's a lot mouthful, but it'll take you right to us.
But we're tickled you guys on Spotify and iTunes are still listening in. And we hope that you'll continue. And we're going to keep putting out the audio content for you guys as well. If you ever want to see our pretty faces, you can pop over to YouTube. Of course, you did.
We're back to video on Spotify. It depends on the channel. Spotify sent me a note and they upgraded me from a podcast to a creative channel because I'm doing video. So hopefully it depends on what podcast network you're listening on. You either get us in video or you get us in audio. So I'm now putting out video everywhere.
Sweet.
But if you want to see the video, go to YouTube.
We're going to be on Spotify with the video too, though.
We're definitely video on Spotify. But I think when it translates over to iTunes and the other ones, they're just audio. But at some point, I'm sure it'll be video everywhere. You can see our mess.
Yeah. If you're going to be a reseller, you're going to have a mess.
Exactly.
You just are. Just get used to it. That's what it's going to be. And your spouse is probably going to tell you the same thing mine told me. It looks like a 5-and-dime store threw up in here. But it is what it is. Oh, one last thing. Do not, now that you can see my mess, do not, make sure you pay attention when you're ordering priority mailers from the U.S. Postal Service, because I didn't, and I'm still got boxes out the wazoo. If you want some boxes.
Yeah, because you were like, well, that was you. It was like, okay, you clicked on one, but it was one of 25.
Yeah. So I was like,
I need at least 10 of those.
10 of those.
And I got 250.
Yeah. I had the big truck back up the yard and dump off boxes. I was like, what is this? Anyway, thanks everyone for watching and tuning in.
Have a wonderful week. We'll talk to you next week. Bye.